Hey everyone, I'm Trevor, and today we are at home because I am still blocked out of Disneyland. And I thought I'd do something fun. Let's talk about the dates that you should avoid when you go to Disneyland. I created my own crowd calendar of sorts, and we're going to share with you the dates throughout 2025 that you should absolutely stay away from the park. So let's get going. Okay, here we go. This is our new setup. I'm giving this a try. This is a vertical format on my new DJI Osmo Pocket 3. I thought we'd give a shot so you can see me a little bit better. I'm a little bit bigger here on the screen, and then we've got the split screen effect. And we are going to be looking at the Disneyland Resort 2025 events calendar on the Disney Parks blog. We have done this before in the past. However, this is going to be a little bit different. And I just wanted to show you what we're pulling a lot of our information from. It's straight from this infographic, straight from this page here on the Disney Parks blog. But we're not going to actually dive into that. Instead, what I have created is this. I have created this events calendar, this crowd calendar, if you will. It's not a crowd calendar in the traditional sense where I'm going to show you like, oh, it's going to be great today. It's empty. It's packed. It's wall to wall. Don't go. We're not going to be covering that sort of thing. Instead, I want to take all of the information available on the internet, dates for after hours events, special things that are going on, kids' school breaks, and all of that sort of stuff into effect. And I want to go month by month showing you what the worst days to go to Disneyland are. And if I show you the worst days, then you can use this information to find days that'll work for you to work around these worst days. So we're just going to start right here in January, and we are going to kind of go rapid fire. I'm going to share information with you as best I can. However, I've already filmed this video once, and it was 45 minutes, so I'm doing it again. I'm trying to cut it down. We're going to go rapid fire. If you have questions, if I'm not being super clear, go ahead and drop them in the comments as we go. I'm always happy to answer those. So let's dive in. Here we are with January 2025. As you can see, today is January 1st, New Year's Day. And the first thing I want you to know here is that Christmas time ends on Monday, January 6th. So right now, especially if you're planning for next year, you're thinking about next year, I was looking at wait times for yesterday, and man, were they insane. Radiator Springs Racers was at a 180-minute wait. It has been 180 minutes all week from pretty much from Christmas to New Year's. One of the worst times that you can go to Disneyland. We'll talk about that when we get to December, of course. But this first weekend here, somebody was just asking in our Facebook group, I'm going this weekend. What's this weekend like? We typically go this weekend, traditionally, historically, we go this first weekend after New Year's, and we've really never had too many issues. So the carryover from people having their vacations, I do feel like they've probably gone home. Maybe they're back to work by the 2nd or the 3rd. So by this weekend, shouldn't be too terribly busy. But then notice this, okay? As soon as Christmas ends on the 6th, look what starts on the 70th. Or not the 70th, the 7th. $50 kids tickets. Now, this is something that Disneyland did last year. I don't remember if they did it the year before, but they absolutely did it last year. And historically, we would be able to say that January and February are like a downtime. They're off season for Disneyland. But because of these $50 kids tickets, last year we noticed this just wasn't the case. There was no downtime last year. And these $50 kids tickets really do drive a lot of crowds. And of course, Disney starts it as soon as Christmas ends. So these $50 kids tickets are going to be a huge factor in the crowd levels for the first couple of months of the year. Skipping ahead, on January 17th, we have the start of Lunar New Year Festival. Food festivals only affect Disney California Adventure, and you will notice that Disney California Adventure will be significantly more crowded on food festival days. People love the food festivals. Additionally, food festival booths tend to make the walkways more crowded, so you're taking the same amount of people and then condensing them into a smaller walkway. Of course, it's going to feel more packed, even if it necessarily isn't, but it will be as well, just because of the food festivals. Monday, we have Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and so that's going to be like a bank holiday where people are off of work and things like that. So this first weekend, especially with the start of Lunar New Year Festival, the 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, that's going to be a very busy busy weekend. Couple that with the very first Sweethearts Night on January 21st, Tuesday, January 21st, and you will see these red After Dark events throughout the next couple of months, and I'm only going to explain them once, but essentially how these work is that these after-hour events run 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. at Disneyland, and they close the parks early in order for these extra ticketed guests to have their extra event. So what that means for you, if you were visiting without this extra special ticket, they will be closing Disneyland at 8 p.m. They leave an hour from 8 to 9 to get all of the regular guests out of the park before the extra ticketed event officially begins. And so just keep that in mind. At 8 p.m., they will start to kick you out of the park. So how late would the park typically be open on that day? We went to Wednesday, January 22nd to have a look, and it would normally be open until 10 p.m. So it's off season. It's not going to be open till midnight. It might be open till midnight on weekends. Let's check. Yes. Switching to Friday, the park is open till midnight on a Friday, on weekend, Saturday, Sunday, probably Sunday. Yep, they're open till midnight on Sunday as well. But if you check the 21st, look at this. The park closes at 8 p.m. That is because of the extra ticketed event, the Sweethearts Night going on. So what you are missing out on 2 whole hours compared to Wednesday, or 4 whole hours compared to a weekend. So factor that in when you're trying to plan when you're going to go. Now, this is January. You probably already have your tickets by now, but you absolutely can make adjustments to your reservations. So if you currently have plans to go to Disneyland on either the 21st or the 23rd, maybe the 28th, you're looking at those days and you have Disneyland as your reservation, I'd highly consider switching it to Disney California Adventure, moving Disneyland to the 22nd so that you can get that extra 2 hours. Or if you have a park hopper, maybe it won't really matter to you. You can just go to Disney California Adventure after you get kicked out of Disneyland. If you don't have a park hopper, consider upgrading to a park hopper. That may be well worth the consideration for you to do, just to avoid missing out on a couple of hours of park time, especially if you're going to be in the park all the way until the park closed typically. So be aware of these after-hours events, specifically the ones that are located in Disneyland. The ones that are at DCA, we will let you know when they are DCA ones. But Sweethearts Night is a Disneyland one, and it will close the park at 8 p.m. Let's move on to February. We still have a bunch of Sweethearts Nights coming all the way up here until Valentine's Day. Lunar New Year Festival extends until Sunday, February 16th. And so keep that in mind. Then we have President's Day, another bank holiday here, so people are going to be off of work. This whole weekend is probably going to be busy, especially coupling it with Valentine's Day, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th. It's going to be another busy, crowded weekend. Try to avoid that weekend if you can. Then check out this. This is going to be 2 weeks of golden time here for you. If you really want to figure out a time to go to Disneyland and you haven't planned a trip yet, this is the time to go. Look at these 2 weeks right here, okay? These 2 weeks have no after-hours events, and there are no food festivals going on. No food festivals mean the Disney California Adventure won't quite be as bad. No after-hours events means that you're not going to have shortened hours. $50 kids tickets are still going on. That's something that can't be avoided here, but these 2 weeks are going to be good at the end of February to go. And then we have Food and Wine Festival starting on February 28th. Just be aware that oftentimes with these food festivals, especially with food and wine, the day before will be a soft opening, most likely. I mean, Disney historically has done this, but Disney is Disney. They can do what they want, so don't quote me, you know, like, you show up on the 27th and none of the booths are open, and you say, well, SoCal Disney Dad said that they always soft open. Well, they typically soft open, okay? So if you are going to be there on the 27th, look for about half of the booths, a little over half of the booths to be open on the 27th. Not all the booths are going to be open, but half of them. Probably Soarin' Over California won't be up and running yet as well. We'll probably reserve that for the actual 28th. Food and Wine Festival, one of my favorite food festivals of the year because of Soarin' Over California coming back. Then we have 90s Night. This is also at Disneyland, as you see, the DL Disneyland, so it's going to close the park at 8 p.m. to regular guests. Just 2 days, so just Tuesday the 4th and the 6th in the month of March. And we have the $50 kids tickets going all the way through March 20th. And Food and Wine Festival extends on into April. So notice here that I put spring break. Spring break on the 21st. I don't exactly know when spring break is going to start. Historically, I typically would tell you that crowds for spring break run March 15th to April 15th. Ish, okay, ish. About 4 weeks. However, because Easter is late this year, that sort of shifts things. And I'm just taking a cue from Disney. Their $50 kids tickets end on the 20th of March. They're not going to offer $50 kids tickets when the park's going to be slammed. Those ticket offers are to draw people into the park. So Disney doesn't think that spring break is starting until the 21st. Maybe they've done their research. Maybe they've looked at college schedules. They've looked at school schedules. I don't know what information they're using. I'm sure all that information is widely available at this point, but I'm not going to go looking at 100 different colleges to figure out when their spring breaks are. So I'm just going to take a cue from Disney and say that spring break is going to start. The crowds are officially going to start on Friday, March 21st, and it's going to get really busy from there on out. But we do have, notice that we do have this week from the point that the $50 kids tickets ends to the time that Season of the Force kicks off. I don't know if that's telling us anything. Maybe that's a good time to go. What is Season of the Force? Just some special Star Wars food and special Star Wars events and maybe merchandise that goes on. We do have Hyperspace Mountain that will come back to Space Mountain in Tomorrowland. That kicks off Season of the Force on March 28th, Friday, March 28th. Let's move on into April. I did say we were going to be going rapid fire through this. Spring break is going to be enforced definitely for the first 3 weeks of April easily. First 3 weeks of April, then you'll see Star Wars night, another Disneyland After Hours event night. Notice that these mostly take place on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So Tuesdays and Thursdays are kind of like your days to avoid at Disneyland when it comes to After Hours events. And when do my kids get off of school? Southern California schools get off their last day of school, at least for our kids and for most of San Diego, I think, is going to be Friday the 11th. So starting on Saturday the 12th, my kids are officially on vacation. They have this entire week off, this entire week, and they even have Monday the 21st off. Here's Easter on the 20th. So they have from the 12th to the 21st off. This whole week right here, all but Inspire Keys are blocked out. So this week is one that they expect Disneyland to be super crowded on, super busy, right here through the 13th through the 19th. So to keep that in mind, that's probably going to be the absolute worst week of the year for crowds. Well, maybe not absolute worst. I feel like Christmas to New Year's is probably the worst week. This might be the second worst week for crowds throughout the entire year. So let's keep going here. That's April in a nutshell. You see those after hours events, Season of the Force going on. Food and Wine Festival ends on Monday, the 21st. Oh, actually, that's before we move on. That's a good point to end. With Food and Wine Festival ending here and spring break, I put it ending on the 21st. Does that mean the 22nd is suddenly going to be miraculous and open again? Who knows? There might be some schools that go all the way through the 25th. By the 28th, 29th, and 30th, I feel like we can say that the spring break will well and truly be over. But definitely the 22nd is going to be better than the 21st. We're probably going to go on the 21st. We always do. Then moving on to the month of May. Here we go, month of May, still some Star Wars nights going on. Season of the Force ends on the 11th. We have Mother's Day on the 11th. Will Mother's Day affect crowds in the park? It might a little bit. Not the whole weekend, just Mother's Day itself. Being that it's not like a bank holiday, there's no days off of work. I know that we have been on Mother's Day before. They hand out flowers to all the mothers on Mother's Day. But I really don't remember the crowds being like super terrible that day, but you know, there will be a lot of mothers for sure, specifically on Mother's Day, but the whole weekend, I wouldn't see it affecting the whole weekend too much. Then when Star Wars nights end, you'll notice the grad nights pop up. Grad nights are at DCA. Now, grad nights are a different beast than the regular after-hours events. So grad nights don't start until 9 p.m., well, just like the Disneyland ones, of course, but they don't kick other guests out early, if I recall. It's too far out to actually take a look at their hours, but from my memory, they don't kick guests out early. The park should close at 9 p.m. for you. And so on a Friday, especially on a Friday like May 9th here, the park normally would have closed at 10 p.m. So you are missing out on an hour at DCA, but it's not as bad as Oogie Boogie Bash, which we'll get to in a little bit. Grad Nights close the park at 9. We didn't mention something we didn't mention with these after hours events is they have something called a mix-in. That is 3 hours before the event. Guests with these special tickets can get into the park 3 hours early. And all the regular guests are still in the park, so we call that the mix-in. We have the special ticketed events guests and the regular guests in the park at the same time, so they have mixed in together, and that makes the park extremely crowded. However, with Grad Nights specifically, because Grad Nights cater to high school graduates, and high schoolers don't have a crazy ton of money, they actually make these tickets really affordable compared to a lot of other after-hours events. And for just a couple extra bucks, they can go to the park the whole day. That is something that not every other after-hours event doesn't offer that. Just Grad Nights. So you will notice a ton more high schoolers in the park on Grad Nights in Disneyland, Disney California Adventure both. So just be aware that if it's a Grad Night, it's not just the evening that's affected, it is the whole day. So you'll want to keep that in mind. A good portion of the grads will choose to go the entire day, and factor that in when you are looking at days to come. Grad Nights are a little less predictable. They're kind of scattered all over the place here. You can see them on the calendar. You can see those are the dates, the official dates for Grad Night that I found on the Disney Imagination Campus website. And that's where I saw them posted. It's not actually on that little infographic that we showed you earlier. Then we have the 70th anniversary here, kicking off on Friday, May 16th. Now, this is Disneyland's 70th birthday. The actual birthday is July 17th, and typically on July 17th, they do have special things that they do to celebrate Disneyland's birthday, like a cavalcade and a cupcake, but I feel like it doesn't ever affect the park crowds too much. But for big anniversaries like this, they celebrate for an entire year. So this is going to run May 16th through summer of 2026. So there's no rush here to see everything and to enjoy everything that the 70th has to offer. Paint the Night will be kicking off. The Wondrous Journeys will be the fireworks show, I believe, for Disneyland. They'll have a special World of Color Happiness over at Disney California Adventure. Special things that are going on for the 70th. Some of those things will disappear as holiday seasons kick off. I imagine that that Christmas Fantasy Parade in December will still go on. Paint the Night will take a temporary back seat for Christmas Fantasy and things like that. So if you typically come at Christmas time and you're hoping to see Paint the Night, I don't know. I mean, I can't promise you that they'll moonlight Paint the Night for a couple of months and put in Christmas Fantasy, but I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. So keep that in mind as well. But Memorial Day here is going to be a busy weekend, specifically in May. Most of May will be pretty decent. I mean, you've got a landmine of after-hours events here, but the worst weekend absolutely is going to be Memorial Day weekend. And my kid's last day of school is the 21st of May here. On the 22nd, we're headed to Hawaii. We're going to Aulani, and we're spending a week there for our vacation. Other people may choose to make Disneyland vacations, and if they get off early like our kids do, it'll start to get busy here, but I feel like most people don't get off of school until after Memorial Day. So, or Memorial Day itself, maybe Friday's their last day. So Memorial Day weekend tends to be a busy, busy weekend at the theme parks, Disneyland, Walt Disney World, both. And we have some more Grad Nights here. Notice this, last day for Imagine Key. Imagine Key will get blocked out for the entire summer, and the 29th of May is their last day. You better believe that this day, all the Imagine Key holders will be getting their fill of Disney, and that day will be slammed in the park. So avoid the 29th if you can. Same thing goes for June 5th. Look at this, June 5th. Last day for Enchant Key. And so they get blocked out all summer as well, and the Enchant Key holders will be getting their fill on the 5th. It'll be slammed that day. Avoid the 5th if you can. Or just, if you can't, I always say this, avoid them if you can, but if you can't, I understand that it's when you have to go. Just bring your patience, be prepared that it's probably going to be busy that day. Especially coupled with Grad Nights on either end, these whole 3 days are probably going to be busy. June, especially the first couple of weeks of June, are still pretty slammed. Even after Enchant Key get blocked out, these first 2 weeks of June are going to be really, really busy. We've got Pride Night, the last of the after-hours events back in Disneyland, so this is going to be the same situations as Sweethearts Night and Star Wars Night. right here. Only 2 Pride nights. And then once we get past Pride night on the 18th, we have 2 weeks that tend to be fairly solid. And then we head into the month of July. And July is actually a really wonderful month to come and visit Disneyland because look at this, especially for weekends. You might say, well, aren't Saturdays like the worst time to go to Disneyland? But look at this, okay? No Believe Key, no Believe Key, no Believe Key. Inspire Keys are still able to go. The only weeks we get blocked out are for Christmas. But no Believe Keys on the weekends here. And I have gone on Saturdays in July and it has been glorious. It has been like the best day that I have had all year long. Saturdays, because it's summer, there's no Believe Keys, and I don't know no Believe Keys, but it's summer and it's a Saturday. And because it's a Saturday, it's going to be a Tier 6 ticket day, so people who are going, and they're just going for a single day, they have to pay Tier 6 prices, and that's the most expensive ticket that Disney has to offer. And so most people will choose not to go on that day because it's so expensive. And so weekends, especially Saturdays, in July tend to be pretty amazing. I absolutely recommend Saturdays in July. You'll notice that nothing else is going on in July, just the 70th anniversary. This makes July an absolutely great time to go to Disneyland. Now, they may have some ticket offers. They probably will have like a 3-day SoCal offer. I think we're too far away for Disney to have not ticketed events, but special ticket offers, discount tickets out for this particular time. So be aware that some special discount ticket offers might come up for July, but for right now, everything looks pretty great. There's no after-hours events. There's no food festivals. Nothing like that. Nothing is going on. Just the 70th anniversary. So July, a really, really great time to go, especially weather-wise too. Things are starting to warm up. You're looking at highs in the 78 to 80 range, but average temperatures in the low to mid 70s, so good temperatures, lots of sun, good temperatures for Tiana's Bayou Adventure and Grizzly River Run. Moving down into August now, we have one weekend of No Believe Key here on Saturday the 2nd, but then notice that Enchant Key comes back and Imagine Key comes back on the 4th and the 11th. And with the Enchant and Imagine Key coming back, the parks will start to get busier again, especially these 2 weeks. Also, the last 2 weeks of school breaks for kids, I think my kids go back sometime around the 18th or 19th. I haven't looked at their 2025 school schedule yet, but historically, this is around the time that they go back to school. Usually this Tuesday, I feel like, the 19th. So my kids will be off these 2 weeks. They go back this week, and usually I want to say that the week after kids go back to school is pretty solid time because a lot of kids aren't going to be missing the first week of school. So usually these last 2 weeks of August here are pretty decent. Notice that Disney has started Halloween time early. That's something that they did last year. They're doing it again this year. Halloween time starts on August 22nd, but this year Oogie Boogie Bash actually starts before Halloween. We have the first Oogie Boogie Bash on the 17th, and this takes place in Disney California Adventure. It will close the park early. It'll close the park at 6 p.m., and the mix-in begins at 3 p.m. They will not do the hour shuffling out closure that they do over at Disneyland, like where the event starts at 9, they close the park at 8, and they shuffle guests out for an hour. Because this event closes the park at 6 p.m., they want regular guests to have as much time in the park, so they go all the way up till 6. And they just have the paths blocked off. And the only people who can get past the cast members are people with wristbands for the event. So if you don't have a wristband, you basically have nowhere to go but out of the park. And so that's how that works. They'll close the park at 6 p.m. And why do they close it so early? Because this is a kids event, and they can't run at 9 to 1 because kids won't even make it to 9 for the most part. So 6 to 11 is when this event runs, 6 to 11. And Oogie Boogie Bash is one of my favorite events to go to all year. It's the most popular of the after-hours events. It's also the most plenteous. They have more dates for this after-hours event than any other after-hours event throughout the year. So from August 17th all the way through October 31st, you're going to see the calendar chock full of Oogie Boogie Bash days. My recommendations for you are to avoid Disney California Adventure on Oogie Boogie Bash days, especially if you don't want to lose out on 4 hours of your park time plus 3 hours of insanity during the mix-in. However, if you have a park hopper ticket, it is a valid strategy, in fact, a great strategy to start at Disney California Adventure on Oogie Boogie Bash days because the mornings are empty. I mean, it's like ghost town dead on Oogie Boogie Bash days at Disney California Adventure. I love starting at Disney California Adventure on Oogie Boogie Bash days. This is for park hopper ticket guests only because at the mix-in at 3 o'clock, you can switch over to Disneyland to avoid those heavy crowds. Now, that would be my recommendation for you as a park hopper guest. As a single park per day guest, avoid DCA, go to Disneyland on Oogie Boogie Bash days. You can see all those dates listed here, and then you go to DCA on the days that don't have Oogie Boogie Bash going on. 70th anniversary still going on throughout this time. Halloween time, though, how does that affect things, all right? How does the 70th anniversary and Halloween time work? I don't know, okay? I didn't pay attention close enough during the 60th anniversary because it was a long time ago, and it was 10 years ago, and I wasn't doing vlogging or anything like that. So I don't know if, the Halloween food will completely replace the 70th food. I don't think so. I think they'll have a mix of both. Probably less Halloween food than usual, and they might take a few of the 70th anniversary foods away in order to make way for the Halloween food. But I also think that, what about Halloween Screams? Will Halloween Screams come back? Again, I don't really know. I don't know if they're going to do the 70th anniversary fireworks. I think it's just Wondrous Journeys, which is a normal fireworks show for us. So they probably will make way for Halloween Screams, and I would imagine that will be the case. Will Paint the Night still be going on? Magic Happens did not go on through Halloween this past year. They had a special Halloween cavalcade instead. It was not a full parade, but a cavalcade. Does that mean Paint the Night won't run? Again, anybody's best guess, since Paint the Night is a special parade specifically for the 70th. We'll have to just wait and see. But if you want to be sure to see Paint the Night, I would say visit before Halloween time kicks off for certain, just to be on the safe side. We'll know more information as the year progresses, of course. And then moving on into, we just completely bypassed September. I will tell you that if you want to visit for Halloween time, September is the best month to do that. Because as soon as we hit October here, October has got fall break. What is fall break? Well, it's spring break, but in the fall. It is a legitimate thing. And not all schools, if you've never heard of it, not all schools participate in fall break, but a good chunk of schools out west do. Utah specifically used to have a conference called UEA, Utah Educators Association, and I don't think they do that anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments, you Utahns. I'm not positive. I feel like they don't do UEA anymore. However, UEA is still a thing. They still take the week off, the time off, and UEA also stands for Utah Escapes to Anaheim, affectionately it's called that. And so UEA, definitely a big factor for fall breaks, but there's other states as well that have fall breaks. So this isn't official, okay? I don't know when schools are going to take their fall break, but historically this is around the 3 weeks that fall breaks occur. So if you want to come in October, come the last week if you want to avoid fall breaks, but these 3 weeks in here, especially you got Columbus Day in there, fall breaks are going to fall somewhere in this ballpark. Usually my kids have off this day. It's just a single day for them, and then this whole week afterwards is half days for them because this is like the midterms for them, halfway through the semester, and they have parent-teacher conferences this whole week. And so school is a minimum day, they call it, every single day that week. Would we go to Disneyland those days? No, the kids are in school, but other schools may just be completely off and things like that. So factor that in. November, we have Christmas time kicking off on Friday, November 14th. We have Veterans Day on the 11th. Usually avoid holidays, so avoid Veterans Day, but either end of the holiday will probably be okay. Just the holiday itself, because this one isn't butt up against a weekend. You might have Monday, people taking off and having a long weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So Monday probably worse than Wednesday if you have to pick a day to go this week. Also, I didn't put in the calendar, but Wednesday is when they typically have their Disneyland Christmas party for their cast members. So the Disneyland may close early that day, if you're wondering. So Wednesday, maybe not a good day to go either. Thursday, probably the best time to go. Festival of Holidays will kick off here at Christmas time. I didn't put that on the calendar, but that's just because it's wrapped up in Christmas time. Festival of Holidays will probably soft open on the 13th. Keep that in mind as well. Then the Christmas holiday officially begins on the 14th, and like I said, Christmas Fantasy Parade will probably take over. Paint the Night will most likely not be running through the Christmas season. We do have Thanksgiving Day, and is Thanksgiving like terrible for crowds? I mean, it's probably, but I feel like, I mean, my kids aren't even blocked out this week. They're blocked out on Saturday, I think. That's Friday for Black Friday, but Thanksgiving Day, I'm pretty sure they can go. Their pass lets them go. We typically go on like this Tuesday, so pass holders aren't blocked out this week, so I don't think Disneyland expects like super busy crowds. It's definitely not Christmas, it's definitely not New Year's, but Thanksgiving itself, like generally speaking, again, avoid holidays. Avoid the day before a holiday, avoid the day after a holiday, avoid the holiday weekend. If you have to, make the most of it, but we'll make the most of it is my best recommendation. And then in December, we have some more last days here. Last day for Imagine Key, last day for Enchant Key, last day for Believe Key. Same situations as we told you before. These days will all be very busy as people are getting their last fill before they get blocked out. And then they're blocked out through the new year. All Magic Keys are blocked out here. Inspire Key. This is the only week that Inspire Key is blocked out the entire year. The 22nd through the 31st of December, Inspire Keys will be blocked out. That means I can't even go to Disneyland during these 2 weeks of the year. That's why you're having this at-home video, because I am technically still blocked out for 2024. January 1st is a blockout date. I don't think it was for 2026, though. I guess, 2025. We're already in 2025. Woohoo! Happy New Year, everybody. And here we go. Magic Keys are blocked out. So this is a big no-no. I mean, even with the Magic Keys blocked out, you'd say, well, doesn't that mean that there'll be fewer Magic Key holders in the park? And I mean, I've been watching the wait times, all right? I've been looking at the wait times this whole past week, and it has been insane. I mean, 180 minutes for Radiator Springs Racers. Most rides in the park above 45, 50 minutes. The big rides all above 70 to 80 minutes. And I mean, just packed, slammed. You do not want to be in the park these days, okay? I've seen footage of people just trying to get through security and the long lines. I mean, it's just like the stuff of nightmares. I am so glad that I'm actually not at the park right now. Like I said, it's been crazy. I wouldn't have wanted to be there. I really wouldn't have. And so avoid Christmas and New Year's if you can. But I mean, if you have to, you have to. Just bring your patience. I think that this is the worst week of the year, even over spring break, just historically from what I've been looking at with the wait times this last week. So, take that for what you will. And that's going to be it for our time here today, sharing with you our dates to avoid in 2025 for Disneyland. If you have questions, drop them in the comments below. I'm always happy to answer them. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button on the way out. And if you want to see more 2025 planning videos, click this playlist right here. There's already some food guides in there, and ride guides, merch guides, and tours will be appearing in the weeks to come. Thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you again next time.